back in 2015, I believe it was, when things were just starting to get weird. I mean, really weird. Weird in the sense that they're weird now. Weird in the sense that they've been weird for the last almost decade. This was in the very beginning stages of that, when we didn't even know what was about to happen. We didn't know what was about to hit us like a tidal wave. That's the very same tidal wave that's still carrying us along to God knows where. But I remember hearing some people talking about this new movie called Kingsman. It was new back then. I think this was 2015. It might have been late 2014. I'm not sure. But it was right around that period. And in this movie Kingsman, what I learned was there was a scene of the hero or one of the heroes of the movie just engaging in a massacre in a church. We see him, the main Kingsman guy, just kill, like, I don't know, a ton of people, just, with his hand-to-hand combat skill. And it's one of those moments that's very, there's a lot of moments in these movies where that just seem hyper realistic, if that's the right way to put it, or surrealistic, where it just you don't things would never quite go down like that. If there was an actual fight between a bunch of people, you wouldn't see this guy executing these kinds of perfect moves, and doing certain things in slow motion, dodging and bobbing and weaving, and then hitting somebody across the face with a stick from the bench of the church organ or whatever. So I remember hearing about that, and I remembered hearing people talk about predictive programming, because there actually had been a church massacre right around that time period, and people were asking, was this predictively programming that? I wasn't terribly interested in the Kingsman, but recently I just decided to watch it. I don't know why exactly. I guess I thought I'll give it a shot. Well, there's a lot to talk about in this movie, as far as stuff that calls attention to itself, stuff that should raise an eyebrow, as far as signifying, maybe some occult reality, but doing it in such a way that only those who understand will understand, that kind of thing. The movie's about a young man who gets sort of drafted into this program where they're looking for the next super spy. And he's there, in this kind of boot camp with a bunch of other mostly young men, one girl, of course, because we can't ever have there not be a girl, so he's among this group of young people, and they're it's like they're going to put them through all these rigorous trials, and whoever makes it to the end will be the next Kingsman, but there can only be one. So the others either have to die along the way, and we're talking about like basically kids, but or very young adults, like 18 to 20-year-olds, something like that. So that seems like a pretty brutal program for especially for younger people. But anyway, they go through this rigorous program, and at the end of their training, they well, at some point they're told to adopt a dog and to make that dog their own for some reason. That dog becomes their beloved pet, and it follows them around wherever they go. And then at the end of their training, there's just two left. Our hero, and the girl. And they're in separate rooms, and their handler in each case says, "Okay, now shoot the dog." And the girl does it. We hear her doing it in the other room, but our hero says, "No, I can't do it." And for that they kick him out. He's no longer, and he can't be a Kingsman anymore. But then, of course, he comes back in later because, I don't know, plot devices or whatever. But that didn't sit well with me. Even when it was explained later that the guns are just blanks, so they don't really, when they shoot the dog, they don't really kill the dog. No harm is done to the animal, but it's just a test to see if they would do it, if they've got the nerve or the, if they can do something like that runs so counter to their, what they would like to do, but if it's a necessity that if they get an order that they have to do it, then they would do it. And the girl passes the test by shooting the dog, even though the dog doesn't actually die. But the guy doesn't have the heart, or he has too much heart to do such a thing. And this, of course, made me think of numerous stories of SRA, satanic ritual abuse, or other kinds of mind control programming. Stories, tales, accounts, particularly involving younger people, where they're told to murder their beloved animal companion. Sometimes it's a dog or a cat or a rabbit, but and sometimes they're told to murder their friend. And this is part of their part of what solidifies their programming along the way. That to me really was a red flag, if you will. That made this very much seem like it was about training, the training of a mind control assassin, or a super soldier, or whatever it is that they that they supposedly do in these super elite organizations. So that was strange. And then we get to the scene where in the church, and what's going on in that scene is the villain, who's played by Samuel L. Jackson, who's a billionaire with a depopulationist agenda, interestingly. So not the first time we've seen that, and of course we know that corresponds to most of the billionaires, most of the oligarchs out there, Elon being an exception, Elon Musk being someone who has said he's completely against depopulation. He wants to go the opposite route, and thinks that we're facing a population crisis. But just about every other billionaire, oligarch, would-be world ruler are all very much in favor of reducing the Earth's population. Thinks there's just way too many useless eaters about. The Georgia Guidestones, R.I.P. Of course, the first commandment there was to reduce the Earth's population to 500,000. Ted Turner has said that he wants similar reductions to the Earth's population. Who was it? Prince Philip, the consort to Queen Elizabeth. Do you call him the consort? That sounds kind of like the husband of. I'm saying the husband of the Queen. Do you call him a consort? I'm just not sure if I'm right in using that term or not. But anyway, he famously said he wanted to be reincarnated as a virus that would kill billions of people. You know, again, very, very wealthy, very powerful, very high echelon people belonging to this, this the WEF style, top down. We're going to decide the fate of the world because we know best. These kinds of people. Most of them are depopulationists. And in the movie, the main villain, Samuel L. Jackson, and he is a villain in the movie. So I guess you could say, well, hey, the movie is saying he's bad, so there's that. But I also think that there are other things about the movie that make me doubt the humanity, or doubt that its heart is in the right place. And so, in a way, Samuel L. Jackson's character, even though he's cast as the villain, and he's like a funny villain. He's like he talks with a lisp, and he hates the sight of blood, and that sort of thing. So he's very much playing against type. He's not doing his hey motherfucker kind of tough guy stuff. He's playing this nerdy billionaire. Anyway, he has some kind of device that causes violence. It causes people to just go get totally violent and just go after each other and tear each other to shreds. And we find out that that's what's happening in that what had happened in this church. That the main Kingsman, the mentor to our hero, he went to this church to investigate something, its connection to this all powerful group, and the church is like a parody of whoever that group was that existed in the aughts, that held up signs saying God hates fags and thank God for IEDs, and that I can't remember, was it Westboro Baptist Church I know they were stationed out of Kansas. They became hugely notorious just for alienating and everybody, and making everybody, right or left, absolutely hate their guts, because they just seemed like these hateful people who just enjoyed seeing everybody who wasn't them, die, and said that they're all going to hell, and stuff like that. It seemed like this church is kind of a parody of that. So once this violence, once Samuel Jackson's character pushes the button and this violence machine kicks in, and they're all fighting each other and going after each other, tearing each other to shreds, and our the mentor hero is taking part in killing a bunch of these really hateful sorts of people. On the one hand, it's like this is bad because, or he on the one hand he's doing it only because it's the vibration, whatever it is, whatever Deus ex machina they've created that creates this I don't even know if I'm using the word Deus ex machina correctly here. I don't know if I'm using any word correctly. I might just be speaking gibberish this whole time, but whatever. This thing that takes over your mind and just makes you go crazy and kill and try to maim and hurt and kill everyone in your sight. He's just doing it to these other people because he's under this spell of this program. That's what's happening on one level, but on another level, I think we, the audience, are meant to enjoy seeing him tear these people to shreds, because they're terrible people, because they're like Christian fundamentalists and we're supposed to hate them, and it's like this parody of Christian fundamentalism, of course, because Hollywood always gets it wrong. They're never or very rarely on the money when they're examining people who think differently than they do. It's almost always a parody, and a feeble parody, because they don't really know what they're talking about. They're not. it's not like if you grow up, right leaning or libertarian leaning, and most of the propaganda that you get through through society and through the institutions that mediate society and through the media and so forth, is just about all of them are left leaning. Then you grow up knowing what it means to be left leaning or neoliberal or whatever you want to call the predominant ideology. But when you are of the predominant ideology, you basically don't know jack about these other ways of looking at the world. And so when you attempt to make fun of them, when you attempt to parody them, it just comes across as juvenile. It's nothing close to what reality is, what these people are really like, the kind of things they actually believe, and so forth. So it seemed like in that moment we were being asked to enjoy watching the guy who'd been the hero become mind controlled and kill all these people, and it happens in great detail, and it is a rather shocking scene of violence, just in that it happens in a church, even though it's a church that we're supposed to hate. We're supposed to think that the people that in it are really bad people, but there's something about the desacralizing of a sacred space that it seems demonic in orientation. Like why you would want to show that to an audience. Also, the hero taunts, or the mentor of the guy in the Kingsman taunts one of the other parishioners by saying, "Hail Satan!" before. And he says that even before the violence button is mashed and all of the mayhem ensues. So it's a rather dodgy movie, the Kingsman, and there are references made again to mind control, to animal abuse, to mass murder as a thing to be enjoyed, viscerally enjoyed, to the deliberate desacralization or rendering a sacred place an abomination. I'm not sure, I can't remember what to call it exactly. The making it an abomination, and thereby in a sense blaspheming. That seems to be a part of what's going on in this scene. And the reference to the depopulation agenda, which again, even though in the movie the villain is it's the villain who wants to depopulate the planet and wants to kill everybody who's not been invited to this to his gathering, and then have them be the ones who carry on humanity while the useless eaters out there all just die. Even though it's cast that way as like he's the villain and he's someone we shouldn't like, it does seem to be again invoking this whole notion of the depopulation agenda and like trying to get the germ of that idea out there. And I know propaganda works. Sometimes it works in that way. It just getting that. Sometimes it even works through having a villain who we are meant to see as wrong and we're meant to root against, but we also maybe see that there's a germ of an idea that he's got that's really not so bad, because overpopulation is a real problem and so forth and so on. Anyway, I found The Kingsman to be a really dodgy movie. I know a lot of people enjoy it, think that it's just popcorn entertainment, not to be taken too seriously. But to me, there were a lot of elements to it that really didn't sit well with me. Have you seen it yourself? What do you think? Leave your comments below. Thanks for watching.